Hi friends, thanks for stopping by. Today we're going to talk about a really important topic, which is meditation and trauma. This is something that I don't think gets addressed quite often enough. There's so much literature and buzz these days about the power of mindfulness and meditation, and all of that is absolutely true. It can be life-changing and transformative. And also, for those who are newer to approaching some of these techniques and may have unresolved, untreated trauma or some more severe, mental health challenges or concerns that have not been addressed, engaging in meditation practice can actually be really triggering. So that's something that I think is important to call out. It's important that we socialize and normalize that, because it can be very damaging, very disorienting and confusing and stressful if maybe you do have some of these challenges, this unprocessed trauma. You engage in something like meditation thinking, oh, this will be relaxing, and then boom, you're suddenly re-triggered, you're right back in it. And it can be very, very stressful and upsetting. So that's not to say this is always going to happen. All of this is on a spectrum. Some folks may do great with it, even with a trauma background that hasn't been dealt with. So that's not to scare you away or say that this is going to be a problem for everyone, but it is something that I think merits calling out. A kind of baseline assumption that is baked in and often not called out in a lot of meditation and mindfulness traditions is that on some level you believe your mind and your body and your heart to be a safe place, because that's where you're going in meditation. You're going deeply within. And for those of us who have had experiences where maybe our bodies weren't a safe place to be at some point in time, or maybe we have a deep fractured sense of self, feelings of worthlessness, despair, depression, it doesn't feel like a safe place to be coming home to that center. That's a place that we try to escape from in many cases, because we don't feel like we can rest there based on some of the things that may have happened in our background, in our past. So in other videos that we will do here, as well as just in pop culture right now, you will see a lot about the many benefits of a mindfulness practice, of various meditation techniques. And I would encourage you, because they are so powerful, because they are so transformative, to if you do have concerns, if you do have PTSD or something approaching that that you have not addressed with a mental health provider yet, this is yet another reason to really encourage you to do so, to do that work. It can be hard, but it's so worth it, and it will open up this other array of practices and tools for you, all of which are predicated on having some degree, again, of safety in yourself. And that's a gift that you absolutely deserve to experience for yourself. Even if you don't care about meditation or mindfulness, that's still something that everyone has a basic right to. So give it some thought. Interestingly, for any of you who are kind of neuroscience nerds like myself, one of the reasons why this can be such a challenge is because what happens in trauma when we dissociate, we're going through something that feels like an overwhelming stressor that we do not have the resources to cope with. That's kind of the definition of trauma. It's really different for every person. It's very subjective. Some things that, might really devastate and traumatize one person is no big deal to another person. And it's totally valid either way. But anytime we're in this situation where we perceive that we cannot match or meet or successfully cope with the intensity and stress of a given situation, that is what is technically considered to be trauma. And in those situations, our brain literally splits itself. It dissociates. The hemispheres stop communicating with each other because it's trying to protect us. It's trying to go into like hibernation mode, so that we're not fully experiencing the reality of what's happening in that moment. And so with trauma, what we see is that there are all these unprocessed memories. This is why these flashbacks happen. Because normally, when we're not stressed, we're not being traumatized, when our brains are working normally, our memories and experiences are being processed between our hemispheres, and they get filed away for long-term storage, just like you would file, paperwork, or in your Google Drive. It's nicely labeled, it's put in the exact right folder, you know where to find it, you kind of know what's going on there. This is sort of a situation where all the files just get thrown up in the air and they never get labeled, they never get sorted away with these traumatic memories. Because again, our brain determines that it would be an overwhelming threat to fully process and store those memories. So that's what's happening in unprocessed trauma. When we go into a position of mindfulness, deep introspection, quiet and calm, what can happen is those files get thrown up into the air again, and we are really experiencing those vividly. So this is why something like EMDR, eye movement desensitization and reprocessing, that's a really common and super helpful form of trauma therapy, actually helps those hemispheres reconnect, helps those traumatic memories get sorted, named properly, filed away. So the memories don't go away, but the confusion and disorganization and volatility around them, the temperature and the noise around them gets dialed down a lot. Once that cognitive reprocessing happens, then we have room to go into a more reflective, introspective practice and not feel alarmed at those memories, those files that just keep coming up and won't let you go. So if that sounds interesting and relevant for you, definitely check out EMDR. Again, that's eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. Tapping is another great way to deal with some of these. And in general, you can Google trauma therapists. Somatic therapy is another great one, a really body-focused practice that will set a great foundation for you so that you can feel safe, you can enjoy yourself and your life, and begin to use, again, some of these resources like meditation that will unlock even further levels of development and healing for you. So I hope that's helpful. Take care. We'll talk soon.